Welcome to CSC Movie Recaps. I'll be reviewing the Thai thriller Who Are You Today? How risky are video games played online? This boy locked himself in his room 5 years ago so his parents couldn't bother him. Even though there was only a door between them, his mother hasn't seen him. Nida, the protagonist, is a lovely and graceful woman. She trades in DVDs with dubious origins. Dom is a member of the clientele she already has. He searches for a compelling subject for a metaphysical talk show to please his demanding boss while working in television. Dom and Nida are close pals. Dom learns that Tan, Nida's son, is 17 years old. He hasn't left his room in the past 5 years. The son banned his mother from entering. Since then, before leaving for work, Nida has left food beside the door. Tan's room window is partially obscured by newspaper shreds. Neighbors claim that Tan occasionally appears in the street at night and that they occasionally glimpse a skeletal shape there. For years, Nida has been a student in Professor Suni's classes. She offers instruction to help people enhance their mental energy. During one of the courses, she is blindfolded, and after Professor Suni reveals that it is a bamboo stalk and a sharp knife, she cuts a pencil with a piece of paper. Nida occasionally experiences surreal images in the classroom. Yet, she fervently believes in her instructor and distributes flyers promoting her classes to all of her friends. Across from Nida, a small girl named Pan resides with her mother. Pan has had allergies since she was a little child, and because of the allergies, she rarely leaves the house. She doesn't know what causes her daughter's illness, but in an effort to heal her, spends a lot of money on treatments. The mother is actively dating men, has been divorced for a while, and is regularly away from her children's house. Pan decides to commit suicide since she doesn't think she can be healed. We see that she intends to sever her veins and writes a suicide note. She is stopped, though, by the commotion and a man's body that has fallen onto a car. Dom is highly curious about Tan's narrative. He looks for information and learns that hikikomori syndrome, which is characterized by a complete lack of social contact, is becoming more common among teenagers. The children don't attend school, sleep during the day, and stay awake during the night. There is a serious sociopathy problem here. He drafts a show's screenplay and offers it to the director. He doesn't think this will intrigue the audience, though, so he proposes speaking to the young man first. Dom visits Nida and informs her about the condition. He argues that a mother is a crucial component of this disease because she cares for and feeds the child, preventing the need for them to leave their small, isolated world. Nida is visibly upset. They have to make an effort to get Dom out of that room since he believes she supports his decision to live this way. Dom and Nida enter Tom's room. On the door, "Do not enter" is scratched. Yet the room behind the door is silent. Then "Leave me alone" is written in blood on a piece of newspaper. The second letter, written in blood and addressed to "If you don't leave me alone," Nida and Dom try to get him to open the door out of concern. A severed child's finger appears under the door, horrifying Nida. Dom is told to leave by Nida. Dom, though, won't budge and cries out, "Open the door, I just want to chat." Dom accidentally pushes Nida down the steps as she tries to pull him aside. He rushes after Nida, but someone shoves him, knocking him to the ground. His leg is then stepped on, and he hears the crunch of bones. "Identify yourself," Dom lets out a horrified scream. Blood splatters cover the wall as a big knife flies into the air. Dom stops yelling after a moment. Nida is asleep when bloodstains fall upon her face in the darkness. She gets up. She notices that the door is open, and Tan enters with a knife in one hand and a towel around his head. Once Tan reveals his face, she freezes in awe. It was a dream, she realizes as she wakes up. Pan glances outside and notices that their neighbor has been robbed and that the cops have shown up. When her mother walks in, she announces they will visit a doctor. Pan ogles the city's streets and residents as they travel there. The girl recalled sitting next to Tan at school and how they had been discussing their allergies. Tan claims he is allergic to his mother because she always yells at him. Nida is enrolled in Professor Suni's class. She recounts a tale of a boy who underwent sex reassignment surgery after being in a vehicle accident. Hypnosis was used to treat him, and as a result, he spent his entire life believing that he was a woman. He got married and had 2 kids. His memory began to come back. The man became aware of his true identity but struggled to accept it. The most perplexing aspect of his suicide is that his children also perished. This demonstrated the infinite possibilities of mental energy, according to Suni. As she hears this story, Nida feels tense. After visiting the doctor, Pan and her mother left. The girl is upset and doesn't see a motorcycle rider coming towards her as she exits a car. Nida arrives just in time to spare her from the bike. The leaflet promoting Professor Suni's courses is given to her by Nida. The mother praises her, but as soon as she steps inside the house, she snaps at Nida for inviting her back to the sect. Pan reads the pamphlet about Nida before the mother goes on another date. The girl feeds a cat despite having an allergic reaction. She invites Nida over after spotting her. After reading the leaflet, Pan claims to have some queries. She is the only one who can make herself happy, Nida reassures her. Pan is asked to close her eyes and undergo hypnosis with Nida. The girl notices certain differences when she wakes up. Nida says, "You have to think of yourself as a healthy person." Nida is once again in class, but she is having trouble focusing since she notices the door to her son's room and the scrawled warning, "Do not enter." She leaps to her feet and bolts from the room. She recalls a past incident in which she became agitated and fought with her husband. He reassures her that he was on business. Nida, however, has examined his camera and discovers a picture of him with another lady. She smacks him and yells at him. He attempts to calm her down, but when it doesn't work, he kicks Nida and throws her to the ground. Tun observes this. As he bids Tun farewell, the husband cries that he is abandoning her. "Our son wants us to be together," says Nida as she pulls out a revolver and points it at her husband. Nida breaks down in sobs as the memories are interrupted. Pan looks through the drawer and discovers some medical bills. She also pulls out an envelope with a letter that contains a notice of her mother's dismissal. On the street, a bunch of guys are conversing. Tun comes up in the discussion. Tun has apparently departed with his father, according to one of the guys. The others counter that since the father abandoned them after taking a mistress, it is doubtful that he also kidnapped the boy. Moreover, Tun can occasionally be seen outside at night. They make the decision to find Tun. Afterwards, we see Pan's preparations for suicide once more. But we can now see what happens in parallel with these events. The lad, who wants to find out more about Tun, climbs onto the attic and makes his way through the ceiling. Nida is in her shop. She crawls under the table to reach for a disc. She sees her husband there, angrily shouting to her, "Return my son to me." Nina runs away in horror. The customers surprisingly look under the table but see nothing there. Pan writes a suicide note. The neighbor, who has been robbed recently, is sitting on a couch with a gun, listening carefully to the noise outside. When the boy enters Tun's room, he lifts the ceiling panel and tries to capture a picture. Pan observes her image as it appears on a knife blade in the meantime. The person tries to take a new picture after failing to capture the initial one. That has something that terrifies him. He tries to flee, but the attic floors give way under him, causing him to fall. When the neighbor sees him getting up and prepares to climb over the fence, he shoots him because he believes it is another robber. The boy falls onto the top of a car and uses his body to smash through the roof. As Pan hears the disturbance, she pulls the knife away while horrifyingly staring out the window. Nida takes a taxi back to her house. Pan notices the cat in the yard screaming because she can't escape because she has a bag over her head. Pan attacks as he gets close to the entrance door. Nevertheless, she overhears Nida saying, "You have to feel you are a healthy person." She leaves the house. The cat ignores her calls and rushes over to Nida's house. Pan scales the fence after noticing that the gate is locked. The girl warily follows the cat as it enters the house after the door has opened and the cat with the sack on its head. The cat is discovered by her on the stairs leading to Tun's room. When a ceiling panel drops, Pan takes the bag off of its head. Pan quakes with fear as she sees Don's body. When the front door is opened, the terrified girl tries to flee downstairs but is stopped. Nida enters the apartment quickly. She is obviously running away from someone. Once more, the door opens, revealing her spouse standing at the door. "Why are you in this place? You're gone." Nida yells. He responds, "I'm alive," and then asks, "When will you accept the fact that our son is dead?" A flashback is shown. Nida shouts. Her husband asks her to put down the gun. Tun lies on the floor, watching everything. The husband tries to snatch the gun from Nida's hands. A shot is heard. Both of them freeze, staring at the ceiling in horror. Blood starts to drip onto Nida's cheek. Tun lies in his room in a pool of blood with a shot through his head. The parents rush into Tun's room. Nida screams out wildly, rushing to her son's body. Nida makes an effort to convince her husband that Tun is still alive and merely hiding out in his room. Her husband claims, there is nobody in there. Pan hides in the restroom after realizing they might spot her there. Have you heard that? As she hears a disturbance, Nida exclaims, he is in there. Despite Nida's objections, the husband enters Tun's room after climbing up the stairs. A being that resembles a partially decaying corpse is seated at the computer. See? Everything is fine, Nida beams. The man stares in terror at the thing. What do you want for supper, son? Nida smiles and asks. The thing rises and moves toward the entrance. Nida slices her husband's neck as Pan watches horrified. The husband pushes Nida down the stairs, dying. She lies in a pool of blood, looks at her son, who walks towards her, smiling. Pan opens the door. She covers her mouth with her palm when she stares at the thing. She begins to scream hysterically and attempts to flee, but it pursues her. The creature attempts to capture Pan as she flees through a hole in the ceiling. The monster furiously punches the ceiling. When it crumbles, the girl falls and holds onto some rope. The being materializes in front of her holding an iron stake. But then some sharp fragment from the ceiling pierces Nida through her chest. Her eyes close. The creature slowly crumbles to dust. Sometime later, Professor Suni talks about opening up inner possibilities. Pan is standing on the stage, blindfolded. Her mother is in the audience. Suni gives the girl a pencil and a piece of paper, saying that this is a bamboo shoot and a sharp knife. Pan uses the paper to cut the pencil in a single move. Pan is praised by everyone. Professor Suni asserts, such is the strength of a person's faith. This is a hallway at a mental hospital. Another challenging case is presented to the students, and the doctor warns them that if they don't begin treatment right away, it might already be too late. Nida is sitting on the floor behind the door as they pass past it. She keeps believing the lies she tells herself. There is a message that reads, I love you, Mum. Nida holds the note close to her chest while grinning contentedly. Please subscribe to the channel.